How do you know somebody's true character? You know somebody's true character based on what they do when nobody is looking. Based on what they do chini ya maji. And a government is run by human beings. And therefore this is the very same way you tell the true motivation and character of a government. What they do when nobody's looking. What they do, and they don't release a press statement. They don't call the press. They don't announce anything. It is done quietly. Now the tail end of the year 2023, actually on December 10th, 2023, the government of William Samoei Ruto did something quietly. Okay? The CS Interior, Kithure Kindiki, in a Gazette Notice number 16993, excluded the very controversial Ruai land away from the waste treatment plant protected area, in Ruai. Now this land excluded is the only land available to the Ruai sewage plant, which is key in the running of Nairobi. This was the only piece of land available for the Ruai sewage plant to expand. And even more interesting, this was the same parcel of land measuring 2,650 acres that was being guarded by the police. Now, as a result of this Gazette Notice, 2 Kenyans benefited. Actually 2 companies. One company is called Renton Company Limited and Offshore Trading Company Limited, who lay claim to this 2,650 acres that the former regime of President Uhuru Kenyatta said was part of the Ruai sewage plant land set aside for its expansion. And Uhuru Kenyatta's government said that actually this 2,650 acres had been grabbed by individuals. Okay, that's what Uhuru said. But the Ruto government, in that Gazette Notice, excluded this land from being part of the Ruai sewage plant, and those 2 companies benefited. And of course the 2 individuals who benefited from this quiet Gazette Notice number 16993 were a man called Cyrus Jirongo, well known to Kenyans, and the other man, William Ruto, the current president, very well known to Kenyans. I'm telling you, this story is super fascinating. Now, when somebody realized what had happened and approached Bwana Cyrus Jirongo, of the Youth for Kanu 92 fame, he was the chairman those days of Moi, Bwana Jirongo's response was priceless. Jirongo said that he was delighted that now he could go ahead with his planned development of what he called the Ruai Park Estate, which will consist, after it is completed, of 17,000 housing units, which he has now labeled is under the affordable housing scheme. Yep, the controversial affordable housing initiative, if I can call it that. Now, what? There are a lot of heavy issues. There are a lot of dodgy issues around this Gazette Notice and this development. Okay? Now, the story we got from the 4th President of the Republic of Kenya, the immediate former President of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta, and his regime, is that actually this land has always belonged to the Ruai sewage plant. However, it was grabbed, according to Uhuru. And therefore, what Uhuru's government did, what they told us was the responsible thing for a government to do, they told us, was that they reclaimed this land and put policemen from the Kenya police to guard that land so that nobody interferes with it as the Ruai sewage plant gets ready to expand, using that land, using that parcel of land. Now, when this Gazette Notice was passed, this Kithure Kindiki Gazette Notice, those policemen were withdrawn. Okay? Paving way for the private developers who say they own that land to push ahead with their real estate development plans. Now, there is another piece of information that is very relevant and very interesting. Bordering these 2,650 acres, is the famous, or shall I say infamous, Northlands City project. Now I believe we all know the people who own this very ambitious project in the Nairobi suburbs. It is the Kenyatta family. Okay? I just thought you should have that piece of information. Right. Now, politically going forward, there is a very big problem here. We have always said on this channel, we have always advised that all of us, including ourselves, humans, should always endeavor to do things that will stand the test of time. Okay? So let us take an imaginary situation where the next regime comes into power after the Ruto presidency. What do you think will happen? And let us assume that that new regime is of the same thinking as Uhuru Kenyatta. They will repossess these 2,650 acres set aside for the Ruai sewage plant expansion. Government land. Bottom line, the decision to create Gazette Notice number 16993 is something that may not be able to stand the test of time. Now, Cyrus Jirongo is a politician, and in a moment we'll look at the Cyrus Jirongo politics and the Mulembe Nation politics, because that's where he hails from, linked to this shocking development. But before we do that, why don't we go back a little in history and answer a very simple question? How did Cyrus Jirongo acquire this valuable, huge parcel of land and his company? How did he do it? Well, the answer is simple, and it is well known. In the Moi Kanu days, those who supported Kanu were rewarded very handsomely. And Bwana Jirongo was a very firm supporter of Moi and Kanu in those days. That is precisely how he became a very wealthy businessman in those days. Of course, things changed later, but that is a story for another day. And one of the most common ways Moi and Kanu rewarded loyalists was to give them an allotment letter on government land. Bila kizungu mingi, you go to State House, you get a letter written and signed even by the head of the civil service, and you take that letter to Land's office, and the people in Land's office, when they see the signature, they panic And things move at lightning speed. And within seconds, minutes, moments, you're out of the land's office with a genuine, in quotes, title deed saying that you're the owner of that land that was previously government land. That is how it used to be done. Now I can hear somebody asking, Chris, what do you mean that people panic and then they forget to do the right thing? They forget that they're loyal to the nation called Kenya? What are you talking about? Okay, let me give you a small story. Very early in my journalism career, I was in the newsroom of a newspaper in Kenya. I was very busy going about my business. And then the phone on the desk of the news editor rang. In those days we didn't have cell phones. They were all landlines. And the man picked up the phone. Hello? And then very suddenly, that man stood up from his very comfortable chair and started responding as follows. Yes, sir. Yes, Your Excellency. He is not in. Yes, but I will pass the message, Your Excellency. Thank you, Your Excellency. Yes, Your Excellency. Asante. What? Who was that on the other end of the line? It was the President of the Republic of Kenya, personally calling an editor he used to talk to frequently in a newsroom in Kenya. In those days, it was his habit. Mo used to make calls himself. True story. Hello? Hii mtu iko wapi? Now, if people were panicking, people who are not working for government, people working in a newspaper, imagine the panic in a government office. Now on to Cyrus Jirongo. In the run-up to the 2022 presidential elections, Cyrus Jirongo was Azimio Dam. Okay? He was singing the very same tune as the Labour boss, a man called Francis Atwoli. But after August 2022, these two gentlemen from the Mulembe nation changed their tune. And now it seems that Cyrus Jirongo is a very firm supporter of the affordable housing initiative, the affordable housing policy of the Ruto administration. And it is very easy to see why. Because he's going to benefit. Indeed, this proposed Ruai Park Estate project may just be the thing that Bwana Jirongo needs to make his comeback into big-time business. Because Bwana Jirongo has fallen on hard times. Very hard times. He lost everything. A far cry from the very prosperous businessman of the 90s, who ended up as chairman of the notorious Youth for Kanu lobby group for the re-election of Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi as president in 1992. And the relationship between Jirongo and President Ruto is more than fascinating. Because you see, Ruto started out as a driver, yes, you heard me right, as a driver to Bwana Cyrus Jirongo. And then at some point, they fell out very badly. Because Jirongo gave out a contract for the printing of Kanu campaign t-shirts. Yeah, and you know how that story ended. 1,000 t-shirts were delivered 10 times, and the invoice read 10,000 t-shirts. Although there were only 1,000 t-shirts in the storeroom. That is a story Jirongo himself gave us. And over the years, right through the Kibaki regime, Even right through the Uhuru Ruto regime, Jirongo has never lost an opportunity to fire barbs at Ruto. But now, voila! They are bosom buddies. And they have benefited from Gazette Notice number 16993. As our Luya brethren say, the Mulembe Nation, Vindu vichenjanga. Things change. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.